Have you ever been in a situation where you failed at something so bad that it's hurting deep down inside? Like, I mean, hurting, like you can feel it in your stomach. You just want to get in your bed, cover yourself in the sheets, and never, ever, ever come out. Like, you brought shame to the family, dishonor to your family. Have you been in that situation of failure? I know I have, so I'm willing to bet that you have too. But that's okay because we're gonna tackle that today. We're gonna tackle that today. What's up, fam? It's Dr. Dale, and this is Permission to Be Great, where my mission is to help you walk in your greatness on a daily basis. All right, we're gonna dive right in today. Before we do, I'm gonna ask you a huge favor. If you're loving the content I'm bringing you, if you're enjoying it, if you're growing from it, hit that subscribe button. If you're not loving the content I'm bringing you, if you're not enjoying it, go ahead and still hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me. YouTube values the subscription, so I'm trying to get my subs up, and I'm just trying to bring you the best value that I can to impact your life and help you get towards that greatness. All right. So today I'm going to give you 3 things to consider as it pertains to failure, right? Because we all fail. I've failed many, many times in my life, many times, too many to count, right? But it's okay because I know with failure comes opportunity for improvement, comes opportunity for growth, and I need you to understand that as well, right? So we're going to talk about 3 things to understand as it pertains to failure. I've got my notes here, so I'm going to take some notes. And I ask that you take notes too because it helps you grow, helps you learn. So number 1, the first thing you got to realize is it's okay to acknowledge and admit your failures, right? So I'm just going to say admit failure. So many people get stuck in life. So many people get stuck in life and they don't keep on advancing forward because they cannot admit that they failed. They got too much pride, too much bravado. Oh, I didn't fail. And they make excuses. Failure is a real thing and failure is okay. This became a big issue a few months back in the internet world, at least in the basketball world. I follow a lot of basketball stuff. And it's when the Milwaukee Bucks did not win the NBA championship, the NBA finals. And somebody in the post-game interview, they asked Giannis Antetokounmpo, they said something, I forgot the exact words, but basically they were asking him, hey, is this a failure? Is this a failure? And Giannis, I wouldn't say he took exception to it, but Giannis made it clear that he did not view that as a failure, that, things like this happen in life and your lessons for continued growth and opportunity. I love Giannis. I don't know him about that, but I mean, I highly respect Giannis, and I think he's a great guy. He's a phenomenal basketball player, one of the best to ever do it, of course. But when you set a goal and you do not achieve that goal, by definition, that is failure to achieve that goal. It might not be failure in the grand scheme of things, the grand scheme of life, which is what I believe Giannis was trying to get across. That's the point that Giannis was making. But other people took it and they ran with it and they tried to make it something else. I believe Giannis trying to say, hey, yeah, we didn't win, but we're growing. There's more to it. What is the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal is not today necessarily, but down the line, right? That's where we're going. Therefore, this particular thing wasn't a failure as it pertains to the ultimate goal. However, what I will tell you is failure is a real thing. If there's a mission, a goal, something to be achieved that is not achieved, that is failure. But more important than that being failure is that is okay. That is okay. It's perfectly okay to fail at something, to not achieve that goal on the first try or whatever. Perfectly fine. And by us pushing this narrative that, oh, it's not failure, it's not failure, it's not failure, I think we make it more challenging on people to actually get up and go after what they want and truly excel. Truly excel. We make failure sound like it's such a bad thing. And that's what Giannis, the point he was trying to get across is it's not a bad thing. It's not the worst thing in the world that we did not achieve this. It's not. There's growth from this, right? It's not the worst thing in the world. However, we have to be able to acknowledge ourselves, hey, I failed. I didn't make it. People just want to use the word failure. Call it whatever you want. It's failure. And that's okay. It's okay. That's how you're going to grow in life. I'm reminded of a Thomas Edison quote where he said something to the effect of, I didn't fail at making the light bulb. I just found 10,000 ways it didn't work. Right? Because there's more opportunities, right? You can grow from that. So the first thing is you have to be able to admit that you failed. Individuals who cannot admit that they failed, I'm just going to make a note of this here. So the inability to do so is a reflection on you. Reflection on you, right? So the inability to admit your failure, it's a reflection on you, right? If you can't admit that you failed, what is that saying? Is that saying that you have too much pride? Is that saying that you're ashamed, right? That you're concerned about what other people think about you, right? Or is that saying that you just think that you're perfect and you can't fail? I have this conversation. I coach some, mostly 13-year-olds right now. So newbie teenagers, right? I coached them on a basketball team. And last tournament we had a rough go at them. I'm talking about we're playing the number 1 team in the country, right? And they spanked us, and that's okay. That's okay. They completely whooped us. And a big part of this game for me was getting my kids to understand accountability and be able to say my bad. And none of them wanted to say my bad. They've been told this thing about it's bad to say my bad, and I get it. I hear sports guys saying that, but it is not bad to say you're bad, right? It's okay to be accountable. It's okay to say, hey, I failed. I messed up. My bad. As a matter of fact, the higher you go in this thing called this game of economics and business and life, the more people are going to expect you to be able to say my bad, right? So whatever position you're at in your life, you need to be able to admit your failure, because it's a reflection on who you are. It's a reflection to other people about yourself. It should be a reflection to you about yourself. You need to be able to admit when you failed. It's perfectly okay. And this is why it's important to admit you failed, because it is necessary for improvement. I'm probably not spelling that right, whatever. Necessary for improvement, right? The ability to admit your failure is necessary for you to improve. Because if you think you did everything right all the time, oh, I'm perfect 100%, I'm not messing up. If you always think you do things right, then you're not going to have time to reflect and try to get better. You won't have time to reflect and try to get better. And that brings us to point number 2. Point number 2 is you want to study your failure. Study your failure. And that's the value you get out of failure. When you fail, when you don't achieve something, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to improve, and that should get you excited. That gets me excited when I think, oh man, I didn't get it right on my first try. Oh, I get another shot at it. I get another shot. I get a chance to study this. I get a chance to go back and to examine it, to dissect it like I'm in an anatomy lab and figure out how can I make this better. Right. That gets me excited. That really gets me excited. That should get you excited too, to say, hey, I messed up, but I get a chance to study this and let's go figure out how to make it better. Right. And when I think about this, the first story that came to mind was Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant tells a story about how he was, early in his career, trying to make the playoff run and all that. Started airballing some threes in a game. It was like, man. And they, of course, they get booted out. They don't make it. They don't win. They don't get the championship, etc. And Kobe's like, man, why am I airballing these threes? And what he did was he studied the failure of inability to progress through the playoffs and win the championship. But he also studied the failure to make those threes. And after studying it, he realized, I'm not strong enough. My legs are getting tired. My legs aren't strong enough. So what did he do? He got in the weight room. He got stronger. Came back next season. Bang, 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 bang. Knocking all these threes down. Legs are strong. Not getting tired anymore. Advancing farther. And of course, the dynasty then begins years later, and Kobe becomes Kobe Bryant because he studied the failure. He accepted it. He admitted. He was able to say, man, I messed up. I failed. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Let me go back and see. And we all know Kobe was one of the greatest at studying. He watched film all the time, right? He was calling MJ and getting mentorship, things of that sort. He studied the failure. You've got to be able to do that same thing too if you want to advance to the greatest heights in your field, right? Piggybacking off of that, so you need to be able to eval yourself, but you also need to be able to get external feedback. External feedback. So this goes back to what I just said. Kobe would call Mike, and Mike would give him feedback. And I heard Kobe telling another story about even Kyrie, right? Kyrie would talk to Kobe, get feedback from Kobe, right? You've got to be able to get external feedback and see your blind spots, because you can't see your own blind spots. So what do? You have to ask others outside of you to give you guidance, give you information so you can see your own blind spots, right? So get that external feedback. Ask people. Don't be ashamed to do so. Asking for help is always one of the greatest ways to kind of advance yourself forward in life. And when you're studying it, the questions you should be asking are the same stuff we learned in elementary school, right? These are the things you should be asking about your failure. Who? What? When? Where? And how? Right? How? Who was involved in the failure? Whose responsibility is it? And I will tell you again, it's okay to say my bad. First and foremost, you should always consider, is this my responsibility? And, if I have anything to do with it, I'm always pretty much going to take a little bit of blame somehow, if not all the blame, right? Because I want to make myself better. I want to get better. What exactly happened? What went wrong specifically? What pieces were we missing? What parts, what? When did we mess up, right? When should we have done this? Right? Ask all the ones. Go through these questions, right? The where, same things. Then the how, same thing. Go through these questions and break down the failure. Because once you figure that out, it gives you an opportunity. And I love this, man. I'm going to write this down. Opportunity. I just got off a keynote speech. I had a virtual keynote here a couple hours ago, and I was talking to them about opportunity. Right, we're talking about the different challenges around healthcare, et cetera. I said, but view this as an opportunity for improvement. Same thing here. You study your failures as an opportunity for improvement. Number 3, this is the one where a lot of people just can't bring themselves to. You want to try again. Aaliyah has that song. If at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. You can dust it off and try again. Try again. I'm always singing that song to my kids, right? My kids know they get it. I'm like, hey, you messed up. At first you don't succeed. And they all know it, right? They don't really probably even know who Aaliyah is, but they know that song, right? Because you've got to brush it off, dust yourself, and get up and try again. You've got to try again, right? And this goes back to the beginning when I was talking about Giannis and Edison. Understand this, right? Let me write this down. Failure is not final. Failure is not final. And that's critical. Or let me say failure does not have to be final. Let me say that. Failure does not have to be final. It will not be final if you get up, decide to try again, go after it, and tackle it again. And I'll tell you, I've noticed this. The reason why so many people don't try again, I believe, is because they're ashamed of what other people might think about them. They're too concerned about their status. They're worried about their status. If I try this and it doesn't work, what will people think about me? Right? Even with social media, I see so many people talk about, I don't want to get social media. They want the benefits of it. Even myself, with social media, I'm like, man, I want to be able to impact lives like I'm doing with these videos. In order to do this, you got to post. You have to be willing to make yourself look dumb. You've got to be willing to have some failures, willing to mess up. And if you mess up, if you say not one person likes this video, I don't care, because at least one person is going to watch this and one person is going to get what I'm saying, and that one person's life can be changed, and I'm all for that. That's why I do this, right? You've got to be willing to put yourself out there. You've got to be willing to look stupid. I'm going to say that again. I want you to get that. You have to be willing to look stupid and not let it bother you. I got past that level a long time ago. People say, oh, you're doing that. Look, I don't care. I don't care what these people think. And here's the deal, because the people, the higher you go in the decision-making tree, the people who really move things, who really push the buttons, the higher you go and get close to those people, you realize those people value people going out on a limb. Those people value the individuals who are willing to look stupid. Right? Because they did it. They went through it on their journey to climb that ladder. So when I see somebody doing something, right, I'm not saying I'm the highest guy up there, but I've done decent, right? And when I see somebody doing something, I look at him and say, oh, okay, yeah, he's struggling. People laughing at him, but I see what he's doing. I see what she's doing. And I rock with that. I can get down with what they're doing because I understand the confidence. I understand the courage it takes for them to try doing what they're doing. Okay, they failed at it last time. They didn't get it last time. But I fully understand the courage they're drumming up from their stomach to try again. And I mess with that. I mess with the fact that they are willing to fail. If you're not willing to fail, you're probably not around me. You're not in my close circle. But if you're willing to take a risk, if you're willing to go out on a limb, I rock with you. Right? You've got to be willing to try again, right? You've admitted your failure. You've studied your failures. You've got strategies now that you can go put out there. Don't just let those strategies, don't let your study go to waste. Implement it. Implement it. Failure does not have to be final, right? You've got to get over yourself. Let me say that. Get over yourself. It's okay to look silly. It's okay to fail a second time. Think about it. A race, Olympic race, right? There's going to be one gold. There's going to be 100-meter dash, whatever. There's going to be one person who wins the gold, usually, pretty much. I don't think I've ever seen a tie in that. There's going to be one person who wins the gold. The people who get second, third, fourth, fifth, all the way down to eighth, or however many races there are, they did not win first place. So some people might say they failed. They might, if their goal was to get first place, they would view that as a failure, probably, right? Because these runners, they're hardcore. So they would view that as a failure, probably. And that's okay. Because guess what? These same people, you're probably going to see them in 4 years in the Olympics again, because they get to go back. They get to work on it, and they know they're going to try again. And that's what you have to. You have got to try again. And when you have failed at something, and when you study it, when you admit it, when you study it, when you come back, and when you finally do succeed, the victory is sweeter. The victory is sweeter. Why? Because you know what you've gone through to get there. You know the work you've put in. You know the process you've gone through and the person you have become in that process to achieve what you achieved. The victory is so much sweeter. Let's recap. 3 things to keep in mind regarding failure. How do you stay resilient through failure? Right? How do you find your growth through failure? Number 1, acknowledge to yourself that you have failed. It is okay, perfectly okay, and it will help you down the line. Failure is okay, right? Number 2, study your failure. Study your failure, right? Figure out what, who, what, when, where, how, right? Figure that stuff out and always be asking why this, why this, why. Study your failure so you can get strategies, so you can learn from it and implement them. For number 3, to try again and keep trying again till you get it. Till you get it. Let me clarify. I'm not saying you can fail at everything in life and it's all fine and then right. Certain spiritual concepts that I think, hey, let's try not to mess those ones up, okay? And certain things that you should not be aiming for. You should never be aiming for failure. But when you do fail, get back on the horse. And if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. You can brush it off and try again. Try again. All right, my friends and my family. So don't let failure hold you down. All right, so YouTube knows what you like. So 2 things for me. Number 1, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so. YouTube knows what you like. They're going to put some videos around here right now. They think these videos are going to be entertaining to you and help you keep growing. So go ahead and click on one of these videos. Keep watching, keep growing. And remember, you have permission to be great. I'm praying for you guys, and I love you.